Hi, I'm Steven, co-founder and CIO here at Quantamize, and you're watching the Quantamize Global Markets AM Preview.
Good morning and thanks for tuning in. Macro and geopolitical concerns are driving markets this morning. Stocks are off early morning highs following news that the Trump-Xi meeting has been delayed to late April. According to news reports, a meeting between U.S. President Donald and Chinese President Xi Jinping has been pushed back to the end of April. There was hope that both leaders would meet in March following a trip to Europe by Chinese President Xi. Despite yesterday's rally in the S&P 500, the benchmark U.S. index failed to break above 2,815, which is a technical resistance level that formed since October 2018. The S&P 500 has rallied 20% since hitting lows in December 2018, but the 2815 level appears to be a level where worries about decelerating growth overwhelms any enthusiasm for U.S. large-cap stocks. Following the 2008 housing market collapse, U.S. homeowners are finally seeing the equity in their houses surpassing mortgage debt. The trend started in 2011 with home equity values nearly doubling since hitting a low in 1Q of calendar year 2011. JP Morgan this morning argues that greater institutional coverage of small-cap stocks will help drive higher valuations and lower volatility. Higher coverage should lead to higher liquidity for small-cap stocks in the U.S. In options markets this morning, the VIX is little change, currently sitting at 13.56, with Eli Lilly out of the money calls, General Electric out of the money puts, an MSCI Emerging Markets ETF out of the money calls, an SPDR S&P Oil and Gas E&P ETF out of the money puts, some of the most heavily traded options in U.S. pre-market this morning. I know those ETF names were a handful. We're talking about EEM and XOP for those people who aren't aware of which ETFs we were discussing. Global oil prices off early morning highs following news that I highlighted earlier that the Trump-Xi meeting has been delayed. Since the beginning of calendar year 2019, crude oil prices are up nearly 30%, driven by production cuts by Saudi Arabia and its OPEC allies. No one really expected a rally in crude oil like that. Just something to consider going back to December 2018, where none of the institutional analysts or sell-side strategists were talking about a rally in crude oil. Here at Quantamize, we're biased to Brent oil crude, given exposure to international markets. From our popular stocks trending in the news segment, AT&T is hiking the price of its TV service for the second time since January. AT&T told the judge that prices would fall if they were allowed to buy Time Warner during an antitrust case last year. But here we are with prices rising again, with many critics complaining that regulators are not protecting customers. Boeing has seen all of its 737 MAX aircrafts around the world grounded. It has roughly $600 billion in backlog of orders for the model, and buyers are already suggesting they may cancel and offer an Airbus model instead. There have not been any cancellations yet, though, as a number of buyers have expressed the potential for canceling. Facebook suffered large-scale outages for its Facebook and Instagram networks yesterday, with users unable to use the site for up to 11 hours in various regions of the world. Sporadic outages still appear to happen, but mostly the site seems to be back to normal. Facebook has already mentioned the possibility of refunding advertisers whose advertisements were paid for but were never broadcast. It is very unusual for such a mature site like Facebook to be down as long as it was.
If you found this video informative or helpful, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Twitter. And don't forget to check out Quantamize.com for your full market preview for stocks, options, ETFs, and cryptos, and to find out what trades our AI quant models like this morning.